Good morning. I am Christina Judd, Director of Public Relations for Salt Lake City Police Department. Thank you for being here today. Pursuant to the Mayor's executive order, we will be making public body-worn camera footage today. In a few moments, Captain Kendrick will do a walkthrough of the officer-involved critical incident that occurred on Monday, April 8th, and ended at 3339 South State Street. As a reminder, this is an open and active investigation by the West Valley City Police Department-led protocol team, per the OICI protocol. Just a couple of ground rules. While the culmination of this event on April 8th are being studied and investigated by the protocol team, the robberies and the rolling active shooter cases are being handled within the corresponding jurisdictions. This division of effort was decided by the OICI team and input from the involved agencies. Because of that, today we are able to show you evidence that we have in regards to the multiple shooting scenes, including our own crime scene photos, videos, and audio. This is unique to this circumstance and not indicative of a new model for us. Captain Kendrick will not be available for questions afterward. All of the facts that we have at this time will be presented to you during this conference. All comments are on the record and attributable to Captain Kendrick. Please silence your electronic devices at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Kendrick.
Thank you for being here. I am Captain Jeff Kendrick. That is Jeffkendrick. I am the Division Commander for the Liberty Patrol Division of the Salt Lake City Police Department. The Liberty Patrol Division is one of two patrol divisions for SLCPD under the Operations Bureau. Within the division, we house patrol officers and the Field Training Officer Program. I am here to provide an update to the officer-involved critical incident that occurred on Monday, April 8th. In this incident, officers were engaged in a pursuit of a rolling active shooter. This incident is the Salt Lake City Police Department's first OIC protocol activation for the 2019 and the first fatal. At this time last year, we had one OICI. These are the facts as we know them today. This incident unfolded over several blocks throughout the downtown Salt Lake City area, with dozens of callers who reported a man in an old model white truck shooting. The first call of shots fired came into Salt Lake City 911 at 10:42 a.m. and the suspect was killed at 11:01 a.m. and this was following a pursuit. To our knowledge, this is the first time we have dealt with a rolling active shooter in the downtown area. The suspect was identified as Harold Vincent Robinson, 37. Robinson's criminal history includes convictions of simple assault, assault with substantial bodily injury, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of a weapon which was illegally modified. The first scene police were dispatched to was 150 West, 500 South, where the suspect's vehicle pulled up to the front of the Sheraton Hotel and parked underneath the portico facing westbound. The suspect was observed drinking a bottle of beer before exiting the vehicle. He fired numerous rounds from a long gun upward at the hotel. Multiple bullet holes were located in the portico, and building and casings were found. Robinson left the hotel traveling westbound on 500 South. We had multiple calls to Salt Lake City 911 and will play the first one now.
I'm so scary. Hi, there was somebody just shooting at the Sheraton Inn in downtown off of 500 South.
Okay.
They were driving a old truck. It looked like a Ford. I think it was white and blue. I'm not sure if there's any casualties.
Okay, did you get a license plate number?
I didn't. I just barely saw it.
Okay, so you saw them actually shooting?
Yeah, I saw the gun. I saw them shooting. And then I turned around the corner really quick. I'm in an Uber. But they took off and they went one way down 500 South.
Okay. What direction? They were going towards the freeway?
Yeah, towards the freeway. I'm not sure which direction.
Okay.
But like I said, it was either an older Chevy or Ford truck.
Okay.
Salt Lake City 911 received a total of 65 calls in conjunction with this incident. Many reported shots fired or a man with a gun, description of someone shooting from the window of a vehicle, and the description of an older model truck. After leaving the Sheraton, Robinson drove north on 400 West to South Temple, then east on South Temple to Main Street where he turned south. Here we will show you surveillance video from 111 South Main Street, which shows the truck approaching the second scene. The suspect's truck is at the top of the screen passing under the pedestrian bridge. You'll see that he drives onto the tracks line to avoid stop traffic, nearly striking a cyclist and going through the intersection against the light. We'll play one of the calls that came in from the second scene.
I'm downtown at 136 South and Main.
Uh-huh.
There is, it sounds like there's gunfire out front, and there's a gentleman screaming, "Get down, there's a guy with a gun."
Okay, is this happening right now?
This is happening right this second.
Okay.
There's a Salt Lake PD truck parked across the street. I don't see anybody in it, but they're saying it was someone in a white truck. I'm just in my office overhearing this.
Okay, we do have a call of shots fired nearby. So can you see anyone or anything like that?
I cannot. I'm in an office overlooking Main Street. I can hear the guy yelling, and everybody's just scrambled into buildings.
Okay.
Except for, yeah, there's a couple guys still out there, but
How many shots did
I'm
you
not sure
hear?
what's going on. I heard 2 shots. Sounded like a rifle.
Okay.
My coworker saying he heard 3 shots.
Okay. And do you know if he's shooting it? It's being shot at anything or anything like that?
I do not. The guy on the street was yelling it was a white truck. And I don't see a white truck out front right now other than a work truck, and there's workers next to it that are kind of huddled down.
Okay, sir, what is your name?
My name is
Okay, what's your phone number?
801.
Okay, I went ahead and put this
I
information.
believe the truck may have drove away.
Okay. We are getting multiple calls on this. There are multiple officers in the area, so I'll go ahead and let you go now, okay? If you hear anything else, definitely give us a call.
Thank you.
Okay? Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
The third scene was at 270 South State Street. Employees at the Marriott Hotel witnessed the suspect vehicle driving southbound, stop in front of the hotel, and fire several rounds. A casing was found on scene. The vehicle then continued southbound on State Street. At the fourth scene, the suspect vehicle continued to head south on State Street and stopped at the intersection of 500 South State Street. Robinson was seen throwing a glass bottle out of the driver's side window onto the street, then exited the vehicle to stand between the vehicle and open door. He then produced a long gun and shot numerous rounds into the intersection. He got back into his truck and continued south on State Street to 700 South, then traveled eastbound. Casings were found on the scene. We'll play one of the calls that came in from the fourth scene.
man just found an automatic weapon at the city and county building, a white pickup at the corner of 600 South of State. 600 South of State, white pickup truck. He stopped in the middle of the intersection and got out of an automatic. Just 30 seconds. Anybody in there? No, I had to dodge my car out of the way because it was firing over my car at the city and county building. Okay, do you know what you look like? Yeah, he was white, tall, black hair, scrubby beard. I don't know. He looked alone. He stepped out of the vehicle with an automatic weapon and fired over the top of my car as I was turning. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
The suspect vehicle headed northbound on 200 east from 700 south. At the fifth scene, he stopped at the intersection of 500 south and 200 east, on the east side of the street between Cannell's Restaurant and a 2001 Geo Prison. Robinson pointed a long gun from the driver's side window and fired rounds at the prison, which was occupied by 2 people. Words were exchanged between occupants of both vehicles, and a second round of gunfire was shot at the victim's vehicle. Robinson continued to drive eastbound on 500 South, a one-way road against traffic. Casings were found on the scene. We'll play one of the calls that came in from the fifth scene.
What is your emergency?
Hi, I don't know if you got a call about this already, but we just saw some car just shot another car.
Okay, what?
On 500 South and 200 East, just right around the corner.
Okay, when did this happen?
It happened probably like 2 minutes ago. We tried to call earlier, but the line was busy. Our truck just pulled up next to another car. And
Did anyone need medical attention?
no, it was just the car that got shot.
Okay. All right, so I will go ahead. What is your name?
My name's
Or what's the phone number to reach you at?
Sorry, where was that?
What's the phone number to reach you at?
801.
Okay, I want you to get where it says, okay, we have officers in the area, call us if anything changes, okay?
Okay,
All right,
okay.
bye-bye.
Bye.
We will now show you surveillance video of the fifth scene. You can see the truck pull up next to the car and some puffs of smoke when the shots are fired. Scene 6 occurred at the beginning of the pursuit, when Robinson drove eastbound on 500 South and an officer began following him. Officers reported on air that the suspect fired shots as they continued to pursue him. Robinson turned south on 300 East, then east on 600 South to 500 East, where he drove southbound on 800 South. Robinson went west on 800 South, and officers again reported shots fired. Suspect turned southbound onto State Street and continued to be pursued. These are UDOT cameras recorded real time by our employees within the SLCPD who are monitoring the event. Please note that UDOT does not have the ability to record traffic cameras. You'll see the vehicle at the top of the screen headed through the 900 South State Street intersection. He rolled through 1300 South at a red light, narrowly missing a pedestrian, and continued southbound, followed by multiple officers. From 2100 south, you can see the vehicle approach the intersection and continue southbound, weaving around traffic. We will now show you two body-worn camera recordings of officers who engaged in the pursuit and fired at the scene. The first video starts when the officer identifies the suspect vehicle at 800 South State Street. In this video, you can hear him providing updates to dispatch as the pursuit unfolds.
He's still firing. Somebody get up there. Up 144, we're still southbound State, Harvard Avenue. He's in the middle lane, he's slowing down, he's going to be going westbound on just south of Kelsey. Disregard, we're still southbound at 1300 south. He's stopped, slowing for traffic, firing rounds out the window, 2 shots fired. Hey guys, he's firing, back off. Watch your backdrops, back off guys, he's firing.
State Street, he has 510, the second stop for State Street, closed off, bunch of officers down to go to the bridge.
Oh. 144, radio to South agencies to start closing off State.
What south do you guys have?
21st South, still southbound. He's weaving in and out of lanes of traffic. He missed the spikes. South Salt Lake tried to spike him. We went around him. Still southbound, approaching I-80.
We just want to just be cautious. He's been around the show.
Negative, Senator. Have them come to us. We're not switching.
Speed still at 45. Just southbound on State Street.
Back off him, guys. Let's get somebody ahead of him to stop this guy. 27th South, State. Watch the spike, watch the spike. Go for it, take it. Stay off that driver's side, his window's down. Negative, let's go, let's go, let's go. Speed slows, get him in, stop him. Yeah, there it is, hit him, hit him.
In this second video, the officers wait to intercept the suspect at 3300 South State Street and attempt to pit or ram the vehicle, then follow for a short pursuit.
Okay, there it is. There's the truck. There's the truck. Okay, go up, go up, go up, go up. Okay, hit it, hit it, hit it.
Following the shooting, officers cleared the vehicle and the building and secured the area. At the time that the scene was taken by the OICI protocol team, at least one long gun had been found, along with casings and cash. 10 Salt Lake City police officers are on administrative leave. 3 involved officers initiated their body cameras prior to the end of the pursuit. We want to remind you that this is an active and open investigation being conducted by the West Valley City Police Department-led protocol team and the District Attorney's Office. The City's Civilian Review Board and our own internal affairs are conducting parallel, separate investigations. Again, these are the facts as we know them today. Thank you for coming.
So if you have not done so, please submit your grammar requests. We have the videos available to send out to you through the file share program, along with the calls that you heard from dispatch here. And we appreciate that you coming today. Thanks.
What about the slides that the captain was showing? Are we able to get those today too?
No, we release all the video and the dispatch calls.
Okay, but like the map and the route and stuff like that, can we have that, please?
I don't see why not.
Okay,
I'm getting a nod, so sure.
all right, how do we, will you email those out, or should we send you a request?
Yeah, so email the police PR unit. Anyone who emails us, we can send that map to you.
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks.
Remind us of the email that we sent to.
Police PR unit at slcgov.com.
Can I just get clarification? Captain Kendrick mentioned 65 holes. Was that 65 holes at scene 1 or 65 in total?
No, this was a mobile active shooter. We had 65 calls from the public who were describing a clear and present danger. Our officers are trained to go to that danger and stop it, and that's what they did.
Just to clarify also, this is just Salt Lake City PD? I mean,
Correct.
You're not, the robberies that happened before?
Correct.
That's Unified Police?
Correct.
You
We
picked up at the Sheridan, is
we
what
picked
you're-
up at the Sheridan. That was the first scene that we knew of. At the time, we didn't even know that this vehicle had been involved in other crimes. That connection was made during the pursuit, but we're not covering any of their robberies in this walkthrough.
Captain Kendrick mentioned there that 10 officers from Salt Lake placed on administrative leave.
Yes.
3 initiated a camera. Is that because only 3 had cameras? Or if not, why didn't the rest?
So all of the officers were wearing body cameras. In our internal investigation review, they will look at why those cameras did not get turned on. But we have some evidence that, and 4 science studies have shown that there is some correlation between a high stress environment like the one that they encountered and the cognitive displays of reaction time. So we will look into that with our internal affairs review and make sure that that's taken care of.
Is there a timeline on when that will be complete, that review?
Not right now. We're following the investigation.
Is that a concern though? Because this is the kind of incident that the body cameras are made for, and if 70% of the officers don't turn them on, is that concerning, or how do you respond to that?
Well, obviously, this was a very dynamic situation that evolved over a relatively short amount of time. And when the internal affairs investigation goes through that, they weigh all the factors and determine if there was a policy violation. So,
There's already criticism about how many times he was hit. I think the family estimated it was over 200. I mean, can you talk about why so many shots fired?
we don't know how many times the body was hit. That was handled under the OICI investigation, and that will play out, and then the DA will likely do a walkthrough. As far as the active threat that we encountered in our city, our officers are trained to address the threat and stop it, and that is what they did.
Go ahead.
We're gonna cut off the questions because the answers are likely gonna be it's under investigation. Our officers will be here to give you some clarifying contextual answers if you have any of those, but that wraps our press conference for today. Thank you.